Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. This is Nicholas Zard signing in from Car News Cafe. So today we're concluding 7 days at the wheel of the Ford Fusion Energi Ford's plug-in hybrid. And I have to say, I've been waiting a long time for this car and I absolutely loved it. I loved every minute of it, but for many reasons. Yes, it's not a real EV. Yes, it's not a pure electric car, but it really does a little bit of this and a little bit of that. This is the ideal car for those of you who are not sure yet about an electric car but want to have the benefits. Well, in essence, this car basically has about 20 to 22 miles on electricity alone, depending on how you drive. 90% of the time, for your daily commute, you can do it on electricity alone. Charging it is the easiest thing in the world. Plug it in, and that's it. It even has a nice little display that tells you how far and how much of the battery you have according to that little circle in there. What else can we say about this car? It's really Ford's first plug-in hybrid, and it rivals a little bit the Volt. It doesn't have the same range as the Volt, it doesn't have the 40 miles, but it has 20. As far as the price, it's about the same. But I can say one thing about it. I felt it drove a little bit better. The interior is much nicer than the Volt. Again, it's also 2 years down the road, so there's a lot of different refinements that we couldn't see on the Volt. Besides that, well, let's have a look at it a little bit closer, shall we?
Hybrids, battery, and space is very important. This is how Ford went about it with the Fusion.
And voila, instant battery,
Yeah, exactly.
instant battery mock-up.
Good enough.
A little bit
It's gonna fit.
of force,
Elbow grease, perhaps?
and a new car is born. Yes.
In many ways, this is the car of the future, except that, well, the future is right now. We left this morning using electricity alone, and as soon as we hit the highway, we went into hybrid mode. We drove for a few hours, and I used the cruise control, which is adaptive, so we got to test it a lot in Long Beach traffic. As we came down to Encinitas, I finally went back to electricity again, and so we were meandering the streets of Encinita on electricity alone. And I can't tell you, but what a great feeling that is, because you always feel a little guilty using gasoline, even on highway or just in the streets. But it was just so nice to be able to drive on electricity alone. So I like that freedom of choice, and I think a lot of people will understand that and will get it. It acts like an electric car, especially right now. We're driving on electricity alone, and when we really need to go a little bit faster, a gasoline engine is a little bit more efficient, so we just use the gasoline engine. It's a super win.
We talked about the display of where you actually plug in the car, and as you can see from the video here, the display goes all the way around. So once that circle, that blue circle, is fully lit, it means the battery is fully charged. So in other words, if it's only 1/4, you only have a quarter. If it's half, you only have a half. I thought this was a pretty good idea. Another thing I liked about the Ford Fusion Energi is the EV Plus. EV Plus mode is very intelligent. It actually understands where you are, it learns where you are, where you're going, and it can reserve the last bit or the last stretch for electricity only. So let's say you're getting really close to your final destination, but the battery pack is running low. Normally the computer would switch to hybrid. Well, with EV Plus, if it knows that you're about 2 miles away from home, it can stay in electric mode only. Another thing I liked about it is, as I said, when we left, we were in electricity mode only. Once we were on the highway, I hit the EV Plus and we were in normal hybrid mode. So what we did basically was tell the car, leave the remainder of the battery alone. Let's drive on hybrid mode only. And then once we were in Encinita, we said, okay, now let's drive with whatever is left of the battery pack. We'll drive in electric mode. Again, we did the same thing coming back. And we got back at the end of the day with enough electricity to run around town. So we really optimized the efficiency of the energy, and by only driving electricity within cities and hybrids on highways. As far as I'm concerned, this is definitely the way to go, and it shows again that plug-in hybrids are definitely the stepping stone between gasoline and electricity. Kudos, Ford. The Ford Fusion dashboard is very elegant, and I really liked how everything was neatly put together. It's futuristic, but it's not over the top. Everything is nicely laid out, and, well, it really just looks good. Much has been said about the Ford Fusion's good looks, and indeed, it is a very good looking car. For this price, you get a sedan that looks elegant, sleek, aggressive but not too aggressive, and this is something I really like about what Ford has done here. They've achieved a really well balanced car overall. One of the things I also like a lot is that front grille is perfect in proportions. If you look at a lot of modern front grilles, they're too big. They take over the entire front part of the car and the fascia. Another thing here is, since modern cars have to meet a lot of security requirements, usually the belt line is very high and the hood is very high. Somehow, Ford here still manages to keep everything within proportion, and it looks pretty elegant overall. One thing you might not be able to see from these videos, and well, you will see it from the pictures that we did take, is the interior looks fantastic. Ford spent as much time making sure that the interior looked as nice as the exterior. In fact, this is the kind of car you're not going to shriek driving people around. You could definitely drive to work, bring your managers or your boss around, and it just looks like a great car. It feels great, it looks good inside. Another great thing about plug-in hybrids is that, well, you can plug them in. So this is how it works. First, you park the car. Obviously, you need to open the door. And after that, you just tap on that little circle we showed you, pops open, get that plug, and plug it in. It's really that simple. And the best part is, well, you can do the same thing at home.